Name's Wade Foster. For most of my life, I figured I was just a regular guy, a hardworking husband, decent father. 17 years married to Marissa, and we had a 16-year-old daughter, Ellie. Every morning, I got up early, laced my boots, and put in long hours at the local auto plant. I worked the floor as a mechanical engineer, keeping the machines running and production on track. I thought if I kept a roof over our heads, paid every bill, and showed up for our daughter, that'd be enough. Turns out, it didn't mean a thing once my wife decided she was done. It all came crashing down one weirdly warm afternoon in March. I was in the middle of my shift, arms covered in grease while fixing a busted component, when my phone buzzed in my pocket. Figured it was spam or maybe Ellie needing a ride. But no, it was Gordon, my neighbor. Gordon never called me during the week, especially not while I was at work. I knew something was Cling. I hit answer and pressed the phone to my ear. "Yeah," I said, still tinkering with the machine. His voice was tight. "Wade, you need to get home. Right now." I froze, that heavy dread hitting my gut hard. "What's going on?" I asked. He sounded out of breath, like he'd been running. "There's a moving van out F. Clint. Couple guys are hauling furniture out of your house. Marissa's out there directing them." My grip on the phone tightened until my knuckles turned white. "A moving van? You sure it's not a break-in?" "I don't think it's burglars," he said. She's waving her arms around, pointing at the couch and tables. That hot, burning feeling crawled up my chest. My wife was out there, hauling furniture away in broad daylight. "Where's Ellie?" I snapped. "Did you see her?" "Nope. Just Marissa." My stomach twisted, my mind already racing with worst-case scenarios. Maybe we'd been robbed. Or maybe Marissa was all right. "Gordon," I cut in. "I'm leaving now. Stay on the line if anything else happens. If the cops show, tell them I'm on my way." I hung up and stormed out, not even bothering to wipe the grease from my hands. My boots echoed off the factory floor as I headed straight to my boss's office. Didn't knock, just barged in. "Sir, I need to leave. Emergency at home." He looked up, frowning. "You better have a damn good reason for this, Wade. There's a moving van at my house. Neighbor says someone's taking my stuff. I have no clue what's going on." His face softened a little. "Fine. Go. Don't waste time." I bolted out, keys rattling in my hand. My heart was pounding like it was about to break loose from my chest. I didn't want to believe Marissa would do something crazy, but Gordon never joked. If he said there was a truck, then there was a truck. I peeled out of the lot, tires screeching, mind racing. Maybe she was leaving me. Maybe she'd found someone else. But who pulls something like this in the middle of the day with no warning? We'd never had any major fights. No real talk about splitting up. Sure, we bickered here and there, but that felt normal after nearly 2 decades. I reached our street faster than I ever had, and there it was, a big white moving truck sitting in the driveway. My hands clenched on the wheel. Fury mixed with confusion hit me all at once. I parked and jumped out, practically sprinting toward the scene. 2 guys were walking out the F. Clint door carrying my coffee table. A third man, tall, skinny, arms folded, was barking out instructions like he owned the place. "Hey," I shouted, stomping toward him. "Put that stuff down. Now." He barely looked at me. Just mumbled, "Mind your own damn business, pal." Like I was the stranger. That was all it took. I didn't even think. I just swung. My fist cracked right into his jaw. He stumbled back, arms flailing, then hit the driveway hard with a grunt. I wanted to hold back, but the fury had already taken over. That was my furniture. My house. My life. Who did this guy think he was, showing up like he owned the place? He tried to get up, arms shielding his face, but I grabbed his shirt and yanked him toward me. "You think you can steal from me in broad daylight?" I yelled, slamming a fist into his cheek. Then another, square into his shoulder. He cried out, stumbling, trying to cover his head. I yanked out my phone, adrenaline shaking my hands. I was ready to call the cops myself, but I was so worked up I fumbled the numbers, muttered 911 whatever, as I tapped. The operator's voice was calm. "Sir, do you need police or medical assistance?" "Police," I growled. "Now. I've got a thief right here." She started telling me to wait somewhere safe, but I cut her off. "I can handle myself." Then I hung up, my knuckles still clenched and burning. That's when I heard it, Marissa's voice, shrill and furious. "Wade, what the hell are you doing?" I turned, heart slamming in my chest, just in time to see her running across the driveway. She shoved me off him and dropped to her knees beside the guy, panic all over her face. He had blood coming from his nose and a bruise swelling under his eye. "Braden, "Oh my God," she said, hands shaking as she touched him. "Just stay still." My blood turned cold. "Brayden?" I asked, already knowing. She looked up at me, eyes blazing. "He's my boyfriend, okay? You didn't have to beat him like some thug." Boyfriend. That word hit harder than my punches. Everything just stopped. 17 years of marriage, a daughter, a whole life trashed. And now this? He groaned, holding his ribs. "Damn it," he muttered. I just stood there for a second, frozen. Then rage came rushing back. "You're my wife," I spat, "and you're shacking up with this clown in my own house?" I spun and drove my boot right into his groin. He curled up fast, gasping for air like a crushed buck. Marissa screamed, hands over her mouth. "Wade, stop. You're going to kill him." But I didn't care. I kicked him again. He yelped, louder this time. The movers by the truck just stood there watching, arms crossed. Like it was the best entertainment they'd had all day. Then the sirens hit, loud and sharp. A couple cruisers screeched to a stop at the curb. 2 officers jumped out, hands hovering near their weapons. One, big and broad, stepped in between me and Brayden. "Back up, sir," he barked, pushing at my chest. I was breathing hard, fists still raised. For a second, I thought about shoving past him, but reason finally cut through the rage. I backed off, glaring at the mess on the driveway. Brayden groaned again, trying to shift onto his back. "I'm the one who called," I told the officer. "They're stealing my stuff." The cop turned to Marissa, who was still kneeling beside her bleeding boyfriend. "Ma'am, can you explain what's happening here?" She wiped her eyes and tried to steady her voice. "Officer, this is Brayden Anderson," she said. "He's my boyfriend. We're just moving some of my belongings out of the house." My jaw tightened. I wanted to hit him again. But the cop was watching me like a hawk. "Your belongings?" he repeated. "Ma'am, have you filed for divorce or legal separation?" She didn't answer. Just looked away. "Didn't think so," the cop said. "You can't just come in here and start taking stuff. Your husband has every right to press theft charges." Marissa swallowed, eyes darting toward the truck, like she was only just realizing she'd crossed a line. And for the first time all day, I felt something close to satisfaction. She thought she'd get away with it. Thought she'd humiliate me and roll out like a queen. Cling. The officer let out a sigh. "So, do you have any signed agreement saying you can take furniture or property from the house?" She shook her head. "No, but come on. We've been married 17 years. "I have every right," Marissa snapped. The cop cut her off with a glare. "I've seen enough. You're not allowed to just come here and pick what you want without legal grounds. If Mr. Foster wants to press charges for attempted theft, we'll proceed. Otherwise, my partner and I will stand here and make sure you take only personal items, clothing and such." "Understood." Marissa's face twisted. Then she snarled, "That's bullcrap. My husband should be the one leaving. He's always been a controlling jerk. I deserve this house." My chest tightened. "The house belongs to my mother," I snapped. "You don't have a claim to anything here." Her voice jumped a pitch. "Screw you. Wait. I raised Ellie here, cleaned every corner of this place, gave you the best years of my life. This is my home too." The cop finally had enough. "Ma'am, that's enough," he barked. "It's not your house if the deed's in someone else's name. If you don't comply, I'll file charges." "Got it." Marissa glared, tears brimming. Then she turned to the movers. "Fine. Bring everything back in." The movers sighed and stepped off the truck, clearly annoyed, but not all that surprised. Probably wasn't their first messy job. The officer looked at me. "You want to press charges, or just have them gone?" "Just get her out," I said coldly. "I don't care where she goes, as long as she never comes back." Marissa shot me a look, could have been heartbreak, could have been hate. I didn't care. I was numb. She stomped inside to grab her things. I stood there, arms folded, eyes on Brayden. He was still on the ground, trying to sit up. His lip was split, blood on his cheek, bruise under one eye. For a second, I felt a flicker of pity, until I remembered him giving orders, like it was his house. Pity gone. 10 minutes later, Marissa came back with 2 suitcases, dragging them down the steps. As she stomped past, I held up a hand. "Wait. Open them." She spun, eyes blazing. "Seriously, Wade? You think I'm stealing from you?" I shrugged. "Clearly." One of the movers chuckled. The cop just sighed. "Ma'am," he said, "open the bags." She yanked the zipper. Clothes. Shoes. Then I spotted it, my laptop under a sweater. I reached in and pulled it out. "What's this doing in your bag?" She looked away. I need it. I have files on there. Sure you do. I pulled out the charger and tossed it aside. You want a laptop? Have your boyfriend buy you one. You're not taking mine. Braden was slumped against the van, still cradling his ribs. I heard him mutter, Jesus, Marissa, let's just go. She gave me one last glare and stormed off, dragging her suitcases behind her. The cop signaled his partner to stay close and make sure nothing else got taken. I stood there, watching them leave, soaked in a mix of anger, betrayal, and the small satisfaction of knowing she didn't get away with it. Braden hobbled after her, slow and bent, still trying to act tough while he could barely walk. Once the truck pulled out and the police drove off, the street went quiet. I stepped back into the house. The place was a mess. Tables were dragged halfway across the room. Scuff marks on the floor. Boxes dumped and left behind. The air still smelled like sweat and chaos. That's when it finally hit me. She was gone. She had a boyfriend. She tried to steal half the furniture out from under me. And I was the one left behind, alone, angry, humiliated. I tried to straighten up, but my hands were shaking too bad. I sat on the couch, elbows on my knees, head in my hands. How long had she been cheating? How many times did she lie to my face? At least I still had Ellie, I thought. At least she'd be on my side. But an hour later, I heard the door open. I looked up and saw Ellie walk in, school bag slung over her shoulder. She stopped cold when she saw the mess, boxes, footprints, furniture half moved. Dad, what the hell happened? I let out a slow breath, rubbing my temples. Sit down, I said, voice tight. She dropped her bag and sat. I stared at her face, trying to see if she was shocked, upset, anything. After a moment, I said, your mother just left. Took off with her new boyfriend. Ellie stared for a long beat. Then, to my surprise, she shrugged. Oh, you mean Braden? My chest clenched. You know him. She fiddled with the strap on her bag. Mom introduced us a while ago. Said he was her true love from way back. They dated in high school or something before he left the country. Guess he's back now. I just sat there, mind spinning. And you never thought to tell me? She shrugged again, like it was no big deal. Mom said it was her business. Told me not to get you involved. And I wanted her to be happy. You two were never that lovey-dovey anyway. That hit harder than any punch I gave Braden. I'd been in every game, every recital, every moment I could. And it meant nothing. My voice cracked. And that justifies your mother sneaking around, lying, and trying to rob me blind? Ellie's jaw tensed. She wasn't robbing you. She was just taking what she deserved. Really? My voice rose. So I'm the bad guy now? I paid every bill, wore the same damn work boots for years while she burned through credit cards. And I still made sure you had everything you needed. She looked down. Still. Mom deserves to be with someone she actually loves. The rage pulsed in my neck. My own daughter, sitting there, saying I was worthless to her mother. I forced a bitter smile. Fine. If she's so in love, let her have him. You can have them both. Ellie narrowed her eyes. What does that even mean? I stood and walked to the liquor cabinet. It means, I said, grabbing the whiskey, nobody in this family gave a damn about me. So I'm done pretending. I poured a shot and swallowed it hard. From now on, I take care of myself. She watched me, cautious. What are you going to do? I slammed the glass on the counter. What any smart man would. I'm protecting what's mine, cutting loose the ones who don't care, and watching the rest figure it out on their own. She blinked. That's cold, Dad. Is it? I snapped. You didn't think you were cold, siding with your mom while she blew up our lives? Ellie stood, arms crossed. I'm just telling you what I see. Mom says you two were never really in love. Said you stayed out of habit. She wants to be happy now. Who am I to stop her? I glared. Then go. Be Braden's little stepdaughter. I'm done being nice. She stood there for a second longer, then stormed to her room and slammed the door. I just stood there, chest heaving, torn between rage and heartbreak. Everything I knew was gone in one afternoon. I didn't sleep that night. By morning, I had a plan. I left early and went straight to my divorce lawyer, a guy named Clint Vance. Weird name, but the man was ruthless in court. He grinned when I told him everything. She tried to take your furniture without even filing? Cheating with some side piece? This'll be child's play. I leaned in. I want it fast. No mercy. Got it, he said, jotting notes. We go for minimum payout. Let her new guy cover the rest. He looked up. What about custody? I didn't hesitate. Give her full custody of Ellie. The kid's already picked her side. Clint raised an eyebrow. You sure? Judges usually prefer joint or partial. No, I said. She wants her mom. Let her have her. I'll pay support until she's 18. That's all. I clenched my fist on his desk. If Marissa or that clown Braden can't handle her, not my problem. Clint shrugged. Okay. Just know, some judges don't like when dads give up custody. I let out a low, dry laugh. I'm done caring what judges like. Get it done. He nodded, then tapped the paperwork. Might be quick. Might be a fight. Depends on Marissa's reaction, Clint said. It'll go fast, I replied coldly. Because she won't have a leg to stand on? I didn't answer. I left his office and went straight to the bank. Emptied the joint account clean. Left exactly $2 behind, just to prove a point. Far as I was concerned, that's all she ever put into it. Then I walked straight into HR at the factory. Took her off my insurance. Took her off my pension beneficiary list. Every signature felt like taking back a piece of myself. Cold. Clean. Final. She wanted to leave? Fine. She could leave with nothing. 2 days later, Marissa was served at her office. When she called, her voice was shaking with rage. Wade, how dare you? She shrieked the second I picked up. I leaned back in my chair. Calm. Collected. Dare what? Dare to protect what's mine. You emptied the account? You took me off your insurance. She was practically gasping now. Your name, I said slowly, doesn't belong on anything of mine anymore. You're out of your mind if you think I won't get half of everything in court, she spat. That's how marriage law works, genius. I smirked. We make almost the same money, Marissa. You don't get alimony. I don't get alimony. And that little stunt you pulled with the furniture? That's on record with the police. You want half my retirement? I added. Then I get half of yours. Did you think about that? She went quiet, probably seeing all the paperwork flash through her head. Then came the fury. This isn't fair. I was your wife. You owe me. I snorted. Let Braden pay you what I supposedly owe? Her breath hitched. Wade, you bastard. I'd had enough. I hung up smiling. She was starting to realize she didn't hold a single card. The day in court? Electric. Marissa came in flanked by her lawyer, Delaney Reed, all confidence and fake sympathy. My client is entitled to half of all marital assets, Your Honor, Delaney began. They were married for 17 years. She contributed to the household, raised their daughter. Clint stepped in, smooth as oil. Your Honor, the contributions include trying to remove half the furniture from the home without a legal filing. That's on police record. And she's refused to split her own retirement. If the court's dividing assets, then it goes both ways. The judge looked down at Marissa with a hard stare. Ma'am, do you have any reason to request alimony? Delaney stammered something about Marissa being the primary caregiver, but Clint cut it down fast. He laid out her full-time job, her income, the fact that we made nearly equal salaries. Then he slid the police report across the table. Next came custody. Delaney spoke up. We request that the child, Ellie, remain with Mrs. Foster. Clint responded without hesitation. My client is offering full custody to Mrs. Foster. He'll pay standard child support and nothing beyond that. That stunned Marissa. I saw her eyes go wide from across the courtroom. Ellie was sitting there too, tense and blinking back tears. She turned to me. Dad, you're just letting me go? I didn't look at her. Couldn't. I kept my eyes forward, voice tight. That's what you and your mom wanted, right? She gasped. Dad, I didn't mean. The judge asked if she'd like to speak. She stepped forward, voice trembling, trying to explain she didn't know how bad it would get. She said she was sorry, that she just wanted her mom to be happy, not to lose her dad. Then Clint stepped in with a firm line of questioning. Had she supported her mother through the affair? Had she sided against her father? Had she ever considered his feelings? Ellie broke down. I'm sorry, Dad. Please, don't leave me. But I'd already made my choice. The judge, clearly done with the drama, granted the divorce right there. No spousal support. Equal income. No reason to reward bad behavior. He assigned me standard child support until Ellie turned 18. Banged the gavel. Done. Outside, Ellie was crying hard, practically begging me to stop and talk. Marissa didn't say a word. Her face was pale, furious, lost. And Braden? He hadn't even shown up. That gave me a cold sort of satisfaction. I walked right past them. Ellie called after me, but I didn't turn around. The pain in her voice cut deep, but I reminded myself she'd picked her side. Now she could live with it. Weeks went by. My mother, Helen Foster, ended up taking Ellie in after Marissa decided she couldn't manage a teenager full-time. Marissa was too busy running around with Braden or working. Who knew? I saw Ellie now and then, but I kept my distance. Stayed cold. She'd cry. Dad, please can I come live with you again? But I always said no. I wanted her to feel what it was like to be pushed aside. Harsh. Yeah, but sometimes you have to burn bridges to find solid ground. Then one day, Ellie came bursting into my house, face streaked with tears. Braden beat Mom, she sobbed. She's in the hospital. He's in jail now. Assault charges. I laughed. Bitter, sharp. Didn't expect that. But I'm not surprised, I said flatly. I lived with your mother for 17 years. She could drive anyone up a wall. Ellie looked stunned that I'd say it like that. I just shrugged. Sorry, kid. I'm fresh out of sympathy. That was it for a while. Marissa slowly recovered, but I never visited her. I heard little things through Ellie. She said Marissa left the hospital a wreck, physically and mentally. Rumor had it Braden's bail got denied. I tried to feel bad. I really did. But mostly, I felt grim satisfaction. That dream romance of hers had rotted into a nightmare. Months went by. I rebuilt my life with ruthless focus. Started seeing someone from work, Chocolate. No nonsense, tough, didn't flinch at my rougher edges. We went out, had drinks, kept it simple. Meanwhile, Marissa drifted in and out of Ellie's life, full of apologies and failed attempts to fix things. Ellie stayed with my mother, Helen. She was bitter at both of us, but she didn't push to live with Marissa. The whole dynamic was a mess, tense, broken. Then, one morning, pounding on my F. Clint door jolted me awake. It was barely 7 a.m. I stumbled out of bed, hair a mess, half asleep, already cursing whoever thought it was a good time to show up. I swung the door open. There they were, Ellie and Marissa, standing on my porch. Ellie's eyes were glassy with tears. Marissa looked pale, drained, hair unkempt. She wouldn't even meet my eyes. Dad, we need to talk, Ellie said quickly. I frowned. Seriously? It's barely daylight. What now? Marissa's voice cracked. Let's just say, we're in trouble. I folded my arms and leaned against the doorframe. Trouble? What? You got another boyfriend who wants to kill you. She swallowed. Braden's in jail, but I'm pregnant. That stopped me cold. What? I hissed. I looked at Ellie. She nodded, face miserable, like she was confirming it. Pregnant? And how the hell do you even know it's Braden's? Marissa wiped her eyes. I don't. That's the problem. She looked at the ground. A few months before, everything, you and I had that one night. I was drunk, we both were. And I slept with Braden around the same time. She glanced up at me, ashamed. I don't know who the father is. My head spun. We had that one sloppy, awkward night near the end. I never thought it'd mean anything. And now this. Rage started twisting in my gut. And you come here at 7 in the morning to dump this on me. Ellie grabbed my arm. Dad, please. Mom's in real danger. Braden's unstable. If he finds out about the baby, it could get worse. Marissa looked like she'd been crying for hours. I know I hurt you, she said softly. But I've got no one. My parents cut me off. I'm drowning in bills. I'm behind on rent. She paused, voice shaking. I don't even know if Braden's the father. But if he is, I don't want him anywhere near me or this baby. I kept my voice flat. Not my problem. Should have thought about that before you got in bed with him. Ellie clung tighter to my arm, tears running down her face. Dad, please. He threatened her. She's scared. And I'm still living with Grandma Helen. Her voice cracked. I miss being here. I miss living with you. I know I messed up, but please let us stay. Just for now. Just until it's safe. I looked at her hands clutching my sleeve. Trembling. Afraid. Marissa's eyes were red-rimmed. Maybe from stress. Maybe from regret. Couldn't tell. There was a time I loved her. And Ellie. She was still my daughter, no matter how much she'd hurt me. But I remembered how fast she turned on me. I remembered Marissa, smug and glowing, parading Braden around like she'd won something. And now? This was karma. They'd lit the match and burned their own bridge. And now the tide was rising to swallow them. Was it really my job to pull them out of the mess they'd made? They both stood there, silent, waiting. Morning light caught the streaks on Marissa's face. Ellie was shaking, eyes flicking between mine and the door behind me. I finally cleared my throat. What do you expect me to say? Sure, come on in. Let's be one big happy family again. After you lied, cheated, and damn near wrecked my life. Marissa swallowed hard. I know there's no excuse for what I did. I swear, I never meant for it to go this way. Braden wasn't supposed to be violent, I thought. She shook her head. I thought I was leaving for something better. A fresh wave of disgust surged through me. You're pregnant, and you don't even know who the father is. That's what you turned yourself into. Her face crumpled. Ellie choked back a sob, tears streaming down her cheeks. Dad, you can hate us. I get that. But you can't let Mom suffer like this. If the baby's yours, that's your child. And even if it's not, I'm still your daughter. She looked up at me, pleading. We need you. My heart slammed against my ribs. I took a long breath through my nose, gripped the edge of the door just to ground myself. I need to think, I said, flat and cold. Ellie blinked. What do you mean? Can't you just? I shook my head. I'm not making a snap decision. Not after all this. You think I'm just going to open the door and forget everything? No. I'll figure out what I want. Maybe that means letting you in. Maybe it doesn't. Her face fell. Marissa slumped back a little, breathing unsteady. We don't have anywhere else to go, Wade, she whispered. Then get a motel. I snapped. Call up one of your lover's buddies. Ask your parents again. Not my problem right now. I told you, I need time. Ellie's voice cracked, raw and desperate. Dad, please. I'm sorry. I'm begging you. She grabbed my arm again, crying so hard she could barely speak. I'll do anything. I'll apologize. Just don't shut us out. I looked down at her hands gripping my sleeve. For half a second, everything in me screamed to pull her in. To protect her. She was still my little girl. But then I remembered the courtroom. The words she spoke. How she looked me in the eye and said Marissa never really loved me. That I was never her true love, just the safe option. That memory crushed any softness I had left. I pulled my arm free. Ellie staggered a little, tears brimming. Marissa stood behind her, frozen and silent. I made sure my voice stayed cold, like a blade. I'm done playing the bleeding heart. You wanted me gone? Well, guess what? You got your wish. I looked at both of them. Don't show up here acting like you deserve my help now. You didn't care when it was me on the ground. The air went still. Ellie opened her mouth, but nothing came out. Marissa looked away, ashamed. I tightened my grip on the door. I said I need time. So go. Now. Ellie sobbed. Dad. I'm so sorry. I didn't answer. I just shut the door. The deadbolt clicked into place with a solid clack that echoed through the house. My heart was pounding so hard I could feel it in my throat. Through the door, I heard Ellie's muffled crying. Marissa trying to calm her. Then footsteps, slowly descending the porch. I leaned against the frame and closed my eyes. Did I regret it? Sure. But when they burned me, they didn't regret a damn thing. Maybe I was the villain now. Maybe I was just some bitter, heartless man turning away his own family. Right then, I didn't care. I'd played the fool once. Let them figure out the rest. Outside, I heard a car engine turn over. Maybe a cab. Maybe a friend. Didn't matter. They were gone a few minutes later. I stared at the wood grain in the door, breathing slow and deep, trying not to punch a hole through the wall from everything churning inside. If Marissa was carrying my child, what then? Would I let myself get reeled back in? Offer help, only to get burned again? Or would I just stay like this, cold, distant, unreachable, watching them all crash and burn from the sidelines? I didn't have the answer. All I knew was this. I shut that door and left them standing there with nothing. And for now, that was enough for me.